The morning had barely begun when the quiet hotel lobby suddenly froze. Outside, beneath the silver glow of sunrise, a shining Rolls-Royce Phantom rolled to a stop, right in front of the service entrance. The doors didn't usually open for guests there. That entrance was for staff, for waiters, for workers, for people like him. But today, things were different. Inside, a 54-year-old hotel waiter named Marcus stood with a tray in his hands, confused, staring as a chauffeur stepped out and opened the back door with almost ceremonial respect. But what truly stunned him was the person stepping out of that luxury car, smiling warmly, as if greeting an old friend Marcus hadn't seen in decades. And he hadn't, not for 22 long years. "Mr. Marcus," the man said softly, "do you remember feeding 2 hungry orphans one stormy night?" Marcus felt his heart stop. This day, this moment, this car. It all started with an act of kindness he barely remembered, a night when he had nothing, yet gave everything he could. Before we begin the full story, make sure you hit subscribe, like, and comment to stay connected with us here on True Story Tales, where real moments of kindness remind us how powerful humanity can be. Marcus Johnson had been working as a waiter at the Silver Pines Hotel for nearly a decade. Life hadn't been easy. He was a black man working long shifts, juggling bills, and caring for his aging mother in a small apartment on the outskirts of town. But through every hardship, Marcus held on to one belief: kindness costs nothing but means everything. It was a rainy December evening, 22 years earlier, when the act that would shape his future quietly unfolded. The hotel restaurant was nearly empty. A storm had knocked out half the city's power, and the few guests staying in were bundled in blankets waiting out the night. Marcus was wiping tables when the entrance door pushed open, letting in a cold gust of wind, and 2 children, a boy and a girl, no older than 8 or 9. Their clothes were soaked, their shoes squeaked with every step. They looked scared, hungry, and lost. The hostess rushed over, ready to send them out. "I'm sorry, kids. You can't be here without—" Marcus stepped in before she could finish. "It's okay," he said gently. "They're with me." The children stared at him like he was the first warm thing they'd seen all night. The boy whispered, We don't have any money, sir." Marcus knelt to their level. "Don't worry about that. You look hungry. Let's take care of that first." He seated them at a corner booth, far from the manager's view, and sneaked warm soup, bread, and hot chocolate from the kitchen. The girl ate slowly, savoring each bite, while the boy kept thanking Marcus between mouthfuls. Once they were full, Marcus brought them dry towels and even found 2 old lost-and-found sweaters the hotel kept in storage. "Sir," the boy said, "can we pay you back someday?" Marcus smiled. "Just promise me you'll be kind to someone who needs it. That's more than enough." The children nodded. Their eyes sparkled with gratitude, eyes Marcus would never forget. A local social worker later arrived after someone reported seeing 2 kids walking alone in the storm. She thanked Marcus and took them to safety. He never learned their names, never knew what happened afterward. The moment faded into memory, just one night in a lifetime of ordinary days. Marcus went on with life, years of hard work, struggles, and small joys. He got older. His mother passed. He kept working the same job in the same uniform with the same tired but kind smile. And then, 22 years later, that Rolls-Royce arrived. The man standing in front of the gleaming car looked nothing like the little boy Marcus once fed. He was tall now, confident, dressed in a tailored suit that probably cost more than Marcus earned in months. A gold watch glimmered on his wrist, but his eyes, those were the same. "My name is David Carter," he said. "My sister and I. We were the kids you helped that night. We never forgot you." Marcus stared at him, speechless, his throat tightened. You grew up. You're safe. You made it?" David nodded. "Because you cared when nobody else did." He motioned toward the car, and another passenger stepped out. A young woman, beautiful and smiling through tears. It was his sister, Emily. "Mr. Marcus," she said as she pulled him into a hug. "We've been looking for you for years." Inside the hotel, staff peeked around corners, surprised by the scene. The man everyone knew as a quiet, ordinary waiter suddenly being greeted like a hero. Marcus wiped his eyes. How did you find me?" David smiled. "My sister remembered the name of the hotel, and we found your picture online on the staff page." That was when Marcus noticed something strange. Cameras, assistants, and a legal-looking folder in David's hand. David took a breath. "Mr. Marcus, I want to tell you something. My sister and I were adopted a few weeks after that night. Our adoptive parents were kind, loving, and gave us the foundation we needed. But your kindness? That was the turning point. The first moment we felt safe again. You gave us hope. Emily nodded. And you told us to repay kindness. We've been doing that ever since. Marcus smiled through tears. I'm proud of you both. And now David said it's our turn. He handed Marcus the folder. Marcus hesitated before opening it. His hands trembled. Inside was a contract, official, stamped, and unbelievably generous. David explained, I own several hotels now. I'm opening a new one next year, and I want you to be the guest relations director. Full salary, full benefits, retirement plan. No more night shifts, no more struggles. Marcus felt his knees weaken. Son, I'm just a waiter. You were never just anything, David said softly. You were our angel that night. Emily added, and that car outside, it's yours. A thank you for saving us. Marcus shook his head immediately. No, I can't, David. Gently placed a hand on his shoulder. You can, and you will, because kindness deserves to be honored. Tears rolled down Marcus's cheeks. He had spent decades believing his acts of goodness disappeared into the world unnoticed. But here they were, coming back not with a whisper, but with thunder. The staff gathered around him, clapping, cheering, some crying. Marcus had always been the man who stayed late to help, who covered shifts for coworkers, who brought food for the dishwashers on holidays. Everyone respected him. Today, they celebrated him. David and Emily spent the morning with him, sharing stories of their lives, graduations, careers, friendships, and the life they built, because one stranger showed compassion on a dark, stormy evening. Before leaving, Emily hugged him again. Mr. Marcus, you didn't just feed us. You gave us our first real moment of hope after losing our parents. We promised each other that if we ever found you, we'd change your life the way you changed ours. Marcus looked at them both with a heart overflowing. You already have. As the siblings got back into the Rolls-Royce, Marcus stood outside the hotel, holding the keys to a car he never imagined touching, and a job offer that finally gave him the dignity and rest he deserved. The car drove away, its engine a soft hum in the morning air. Marcus watched until it turned the corner, disappearing from sight. But the feeling it left behind, that stayed forever. That day, Marcus learned a truth he had always believed but never seen so clearly. When you give kindness freely, even when you have little, it doesn't disappear. It travels, it grows, and one day, sometimes years later, it finds its way home. We never know how deeply a small act of compassion can touch someone's life. Marcus fed 2 scared orphans. Decades later, they returned as successful, grateful adults, ready to lift him up just as he once lifted them. Let this story remind us all, kindness is never wasted. It is planted, and one day it blooms. So go out today and be the reason someone believes in goodness again. The world needs more hearts like yours. Thank you for watching.